The RX 135 needs no introduction and can be seen on roads even to date. A lot of them are maintained by enthusiasts in meticulous condition. Even after all these years, the RX series of Yamaha still remains irreplaceable both in the market and in the hearts of our people. The RX series of two-stroke bikes remained in production in India from the 1980s to the beginning of 2000s. Over this span, a number of bikes were released, of which the RX 135 4-speed was launched in the late 1990s and was a complete hit at the time, all for the right reasons. Here we have with us the RX 135 4-speed in its candy maroon variant, retained as stock as possible. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the family. Let's go. The RX 135 had two variations, a 4-speed and a 5-speed one. Now, right off the bat, the difference isn't only with the extra gear. There's more to it. They are practically different bikes mechanically, with better performance or offer on the 5-speed variant, where it takes only 3.5 seconds to do a 0 to 60 run, which takes 4.2 seconds in the 4-speed variant. The 5-speed also costs more to maintain and parts are relatively harder to source than the other. The bike you see here is the 4-speed variant and was pre-booked and purchased with a 2-month waiting period back in the day by my dad in 1998 when the bike first came out, when all the craze was around it. What a time to own such a bike. The bike is 2 years older than me and has practically grown along with lots and lots of chrome bits, which shine meticulously if maintained properly, and is also equally prone to rusting if not. Baking soda and lemon did help remove rust, by the way, and can be done. All the lights are halogen and visibility isn't much of a thing to discuss. So you're better off getting projectors or LED if you do plan to take it out at night rides. Talking of lights, the indicator stays are very much prone to wear and tear even if you do maintain it properly. So installing an RD350 or Royal Enfield indicators are the only fix to this issue. The speedo is completely analog and comes with one odometer coupled with a neutral and high beam indicator, which is very straightforward and easy to look at. Aftermarket tachometer from the Yamaha RX-Z can be installed, and this can prove to be a good addition. The battery compartment is to the left near the 2T oil tank. The battery is relatively lesser in capacity to modern vehicles in relation to the less number of electronics you get in the motorcycle. It is important to note that the battery has to be upgraded in case you plan to install projector headlamps among other electronic stuff. I personally feel the charm of the well-maintained wire spoke wheels cannot be replaced by any alloy wheels and have hence retained them for this very reason. The duplex double cradle type frame is rigid, provides great stability and acts as a potent base for further customizations, which the bike is perfect for. Getting to the bit the motorcycle is renowned for, the engine. It has an air-cooled single-cylinder 2-stroke 132cc carbureted engine with an output of 12 bhp at 7500 rpm and 10 Nm of torque on offer at 6500 rpm. All of this is mated to a 4-speed Welt multi-disc clutch gearbox. The motorcycle's initial pickup keeps up to even today's 200cc bikes, which would have been insane at the time of its debut, making it a dream for a whole lot of people to own this. The power figures on their own only say so much until you see the motorcycle's 108 kilo dry weight, which gives it a great power to ratio of 0.11 PS per kilogram, which gives the vehicle that signature initial punch it is famous for. The bike takes about 4.2 seconds for 0 to 60 and about 13 seconds for a 0 to 100 run in stock condition. The bike has a claimed top speed of 110 and can cruise comfortably at speeds of 70 to 80, beyond which you will strain the engine and cause long-term damage if maintained at higher speeds for a longer duration. The bike is best designed for city commutes, and you do feel the need of a fifth gear when you find open roads. I say this because there is a feel that the bike has a lot more untapped potential that could be put to use with another gear on offer. Speaking of high speeds, the motorcycle just has a 130 drum brakes on either wheels, and without a question, these are not sufficient for the punch the bike offers. Aftermarket disc brakes are now commonly installed in them, and they are a welcome addition without a doubt. MRF Nilo grip zappers have been installed, and although these are small to look at, these offer great grip on and off-road. The oil-damped telescopic spokes at the front and hydraulic coil springs with 5-step tension adjustability at the rear or on the stiffer side, and you will feel the undulations on the road. But this helps provide better stability and control over the motorcycle. The 10.5 litre petrol tank with a reserve capacity of 1.5 litres is great to look at, and I prefer it best without a cover on top, which prevents such a good view whilst driving. The average mileage on offer will differ based on how and where you ride the vehicle, but I get an average of about 30 to 35 km per litre, and even more when ridden calmly. The motorcycle is actually a good blend of power and mileage compared to other two-stroke bikes at the time. And now, the sound. The bike is famed for this aspect, and honestly, I prefer this silencer over the Catcon silencer the 5-speed RX 135 came with. The beat is very consistent and will sound calming and serene if ridden properly, and will also make a lot of heads turn. So if you are into that, then there's no going wrong here. The bike is extremely agile and flickable. The 2.1 meter turning radius just adds to this. Traversing the bike through city traffic is a breeze, and you are guaranteed to have loads of fun riding it. The seats are accommodating and comfortable, but not much cushioning is provided, and you may have to upgrade it if required. The Japanese motorcycle has Yamaha's trademark reliability, durability, and build quality. In the case of this bike, you just have to try and understand it in its very own language, and trust me, you will over time. With very slight variations in the sound that emanates from the bike, you'll be able to figure out any issues in it and if it's time for a service. General service will cost around Rs 600. Availability of spare parts and mod jobs you wish to do will very much depend on if you know an established mechanic who understand RX motorcycles in your locality. Some common problems that may occur occasionally are starting problems which may occur due to an unclean carburetor or a lots of smoke due to no TOTI oil or a bad oil fuel mixture, all of which you will figure out over time, and it's a fun experience as well. Long distance travels will require a break in between to cool down the engine and to stretch yourself, as the bike is not really designed for the purpose. Vibrations do exist, and it's part and parcel of owning experience of this bike. Rearview mirrors offer good view and changes aren't really required. The bike is best suited for a single person. Add more weight and it takes away the fun from the bike. Ultimately, it's for those who are actually passionate about it and can take care of it. The motorcycle has a separate fan base among youngsters, elders from its era, and enthusiasts alike. With enthusiasts recovering junk motorcycle and restoring it to its previous pristine condition, or making performance addition by means of boating and reboarding, among an endless list that could be done on the bike, spend lakhs and lakhs of money in the process, keeping the motorcycle still very much alive and thus making it the legend that it is and will continue to be. Thank you for watching.